One name on the injury sheet was the story all week. This morning, there are two, and Vegas is tomorrow. If you're just joining us, Indiana's availability watch started with Caitlin Clark's recurring back issue and Aaliyah Boston's lower leg concern. Then it widened, with hardship contract depth becoming part of the roster picture. Clark missed the Sparks win and Tuesday's practice, and her status for the Aces is still unresolved after the latest updates.
This is the Indiana Fever Daily Podcast. Clark's back watch, Sophie Cunningham now sick, and a Kelsey Mitchell Puma move that says something about this whole city. Vegas is going to tell us who Indiana really is.
Sports Illustrated with Grant Young.
White was then asked whether she knows if Clark will be available for the Fever's next game, which is against the Las Vegas Aces on July 5th. She said, "Yeah, no, I think it's still too early." She got a question about whether she knows how Clark's back is doing right now, and she said, "I think every day is a little bit better. Every day is a little bit better."
So the Fever injury watch has officially widened. White told reporters on July 1st it's too early to call Clark for Vegas. Now we've got it straight from the coach instead of trying to read a practice report. And the arc matters here. Clark went from missing the Sparks game with that back to individual workouts before Las Vegas. White called it a re-aggravation, not a new injury.
That re-aggravation word is the part that keeps me up. She literally said you can feel great in warm-ups and wake up different. So this sounds like something they have to manage, not just a Friday or not box to check.
Right, and every day is a little bit better is coach speak for don't circle July 5th in pen.
I actually appreciate her being that honest about it. A player giving you 21 and 8 for 17 games. You don't rush her back for one road game in Vegas.
Sporting News with Rodney Knippel.
The Indiana Fever were missing another key veteran at practice Tuesday. While much of the attention remains on Caitlin Clark's recovery from a back injury, guard Sophie Cunningham was unable to participate after being sidelined by an illness. The good news for Indiana is that the timing could allow Cunningham plenty of opportunity to recover before the Fever return to action Sunday against the Las Vegas Aces.
Okay, so now it's two. Cunningham was out sick Tuesday, per Sporting News, and Clark's still doing individual work on that back. That's the back half of our guard depth banged up going into Vegas.
The timing is the one mercy here. They don't play the Aces until Sunday, so Cunningham's day-to-day and has real runway to shake it. But yeah, the availability question is moving past Clark's back now. White confirmed Clark's doing individual workouts, so we're not reading practice tea leaves anymore. It's the spacing that worries me. If Cunningham's shooting is out too, Vegas can load up.
Yeah, and Vegas isn't the Sparks. This is the first game in this stretch where a thin rotation really gets tested by a contender. With Clark still working back from that injury and Cunningham sick enough to miss practice, what are you watching against Las Vegas? Like, how do we know if this rotation can hold up in a playoff series and not just survive a shorthanded Sparks team?
That's the frame. The Sparks game looked great. 111-87 is a blowout, but it came with a giant asterisk. Per SI, LA was missing Kelsey Plum and Cameron Brink, and that defense was historically bad coming in even before the absences. Vegas is a different animal. I'm watching Mitchell first. Can she keep being the primary creator? She had 26, Boston had 17, but the Sparks didn't have the perimeter defender to make either of them uncomfortable. The Aces will. Then Tyasha Harris. Pace, decisions, pick-and-roll stuff. SI's breakdown had 4 of the 5 starters in double figures, with Harris running the offense. And that's encouraging, but LA was a team she could beat off the bounce. And the swing piece is second-unit defense in the open floor. If Clark and Cunningham are both unavailable, and per SI, White has said there's still no clear timeline on Clark, that bench guard rotation gets thin fast against a team built to run.
The Fever handled the Sparks with a balanced attack, but Vegas is going to put the ball in 1 or 2 players' hands and make Indiana guard the Aces' stars in a very different way. Is Boston the stabilizer here, or does this still come down to Mitchell carrying the offense?
Boston is probably your best indicator of team health, honestly. If she's getting good position, finishing, and drawing fouls, it means the guards around her are keeping the defense honest enough that she's not getting doubled into irrelevance. My concern is that Indiana's identity without Clark has really only been stress-tested against compromised opponents, based on what we've seen earlier this season, too. A strong showing against Vegas would be the first real evidence that this depth is playoff stable instead of opponent dependent. This one's from Fox 59.
Indianapolis. Puma has added Indiana Fever guard Kelsey Mitchell to its lineup of sponsored athletes. In a release, the brand indicated that it is teaming up with Mitchell, who is planning to help boost Puma's Hali franchise. The Hali franchise's flagship athlete is Tyrese Haliburton. The Pacers guard released his first signature show with Puma last year.
Kelsey Mitchell to Puma, joining the Hali franchise. That's an Indianapolis co-branding moment as much as a shoe deal. She and Haliburton both wear 0 for teams under the same Pacers sports and entertainment banner.
And the timing matters. This lands in the middle of an injury watch where Mitchell is the answer. Last year, she dragged an injury-riddled Fever team to Game 5 of the semis against these same aces.
Right, and she didn't even finish that game. Rabdo took her out. 3-time All-Star, number 2 overall pick in 2018. Calling her a franchise guard is earned.
Interesting that she's boosting the Hali line while Haliburton's still working back from that Achilles in Game 7 of the finals. So right now, Mitchell's the healthy face of the franchise, on the court and off. Tri-City Sports with Paolo Sanco.
Kelsey Mitchell led the way for Indiana with Clark sidelined. The all-WNBA guard went off for a game-high 26 points on 9 of 13 shooting to lead the Fever to their second win in 3 games.
So when White singles out a guard's attitude in the middle of an injury watch, you don't just file that away. With Cunningham sick and Clark still a question mark, that sounds like a coaching tell about who she trusts when the lineup gets thin.
Right, and that's the timing piece. She's not handing out feel-good quotes for fun a day before Vegas. If she's praising one guard's attitude right now, it reads like a rotation signal.
And Mitchell just went for 26 on 9 of 13 without Clark on Saturday. So if White's building trust in her guards, Mitchell's already answering the bell as the one who can carry a shorthanded night.
That's the piece I'm watching. Who White is quietly promoting into crunch time reps. Against the Aces, that matters a lot more than a practice compliment in June.
If you like keeping up with every twist in the Fever season, check out World Cup Morning, a daily 2026 FIFA World Cup recap with results, standings, storylines, and the arguments you'll have all day. Find it wherever you listen to podcasts. Next up, Clark's Practical Checkpoint is Sunday's Fever Aces tip in Las Vegas, scheduled for 7 p.m. Cunningham has a few days to clear the illness that kept her out of Tuesday practice. And against Las Vegas, we're watching whether Mitchell's primary creator minutes and Tyasha Harris's pick-and-roll control can hold up against a stronger defense. You'll find links to every story we covered today in the show notes, so take a look at anything you want to read more closely. That's Indiana Fever Daily Podcast for today. This is a Lantern Podcast.